Alright, hey guys, Luke99 here, coming at you with another review. Today I'm bringing you my SmackDown review for August 29, 2014. The commentators were Tom Phillips, Michael Cole, and JBL, and the city was Ontario, Canada. So then we kick off the show with a Reigns, Kane, and Rollins recap of what they did on Monday. Which I think it's been a solid feud so far. I mean, it just started, so it's kind of hard to judge, but, not too bad at all. So we kick off the actual show with Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns, which it was kind of surprising to see a match, and that was a good start to SmackDown. And, you know what, the Wyatts are kind of, directionless right now. I don't know, they just don't have anything for them, which is kind of sad because they are all just so talented, especially Rowan, Bray, I mean just all of them, but Rowan especially because he's just been improving every single time he gets out there. So we had some back and forth action between these two right away. Roman hits a huge clothesline out of the corner. Wyatt hits an avalanche to send Roman to the outside. That was a cool little spot there. Nice exchange. Clothesline on the outside from Bray. Reigns eventually starts to come back. Wyatt hits that huge back elbow. He hits a senton. Reigns eventually hits the Samoan drop off of the second rope for a cool spot there, and he gets a 2 for that. Reigns then hits his apron dropkick, and the Wyatts eventually get disqualified. Joe and Henry come down, Superman punch, and I was kind of confused here. I mean, is Henry feuding with Rusev or Wyatts? I don't know, it's just, I'm not sure if they dropped the Rusev feud or what, but I guess we'll find out within the next coming weeks. But, this was kind of like Raw, but they just changed it with Reigns, which is kind of disappointing, but I'll let it slide because it's SmackDown, it's typical, but, it was a good match while it lasted, to be honest. RVD versus Rollins was up next, which was kind of surprising to see 2 matches right in a row. And, of course, this was a rematch from Main Event, which they had an awesome match there, so I expected this one to be not as good, but at least a solid match. So we saw a nice technical exchange right at the start. Rollins hits a single leg dropkick, then hits a body slam for 2. RVD eventually hits this sweet kick to start coming back. He then hits his actual comeback, misses the rolling thunder. Rollins goes for curb stomp. RVD gets out of the way and hits a spinning heel kick. RVD then misses the 5-star. Rollins hits an enziguri for 2, and then Rollins hits a sunset flip buckle bomb, hits the second buckle bomb, and then the curb stomp for the victory. Rollins looked very strong here, and just another awesome match between these two awesome competitors. Gotta give these two credit for working 2 awesome matches in the same night. They actually had a match on Main Event and then on SmackDown, so you gotta give those 2 credit. And you know what? I enjoyed the match. And I'm not sure if this is RVD's last match or not, but I think he had a pretty good run. He put over some guys and had some good matches, so you got to give him credit as well for coming back. Up next, we had the Brie and Nikki segment recap, and you know what? I'm the only one who likes this feud, and that's okay, because I actually do like this feud. Up next, we had Emma versus Paige, which I was hoping they would give this time because I love their matches from NXT. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Emma hits a nice roll-up at the start. Paige hits that super kick to the midsection she does. Emma then hits this nice kick after floating around the ropes. Emma's just so awesome. Paige then pulls Emma off the top, hits the PTO for the win. Match was just nothing. It was really disappointing. However, AJ comes down with some chocolates, and Paige eventually tries the chocolate and then spits it back at AJ. So that was kind of weird to see. Like I said on Monday, this feud is really turning weird, but I kind of like it. So, I'm interested to see where they take this. Up next, we had Rusev versus Swagger in a submission match, and as much as I don't like the idea of these two facing off 2 more times in the same week, after their big feud-ending flag match, I don't know, they just always get me hyped up with this match, and I really enjoyed their feud. and I enjoyed their matches, so I was going to let this one slide. Lana cuts her typical promo. Swagger interrupts, starts to come down. Swagger starts off the match with working on the ankle. He then hits a huge slam, locks in the ankle lock real quick. Rusev then gets to the ropes. Swagger then on the outside. Swagger goes into the barricade a couple of times. Rusev then goes for a big kick against the steel post, and Swagger locks in the ankle lock on the outside. Rusev crawls back into the rope. Swagger hits a nice clothesline, hits a knee into the corner, big boot, Swagger bomb. Rusev then hits this just where is that? Rusev then locks in the ankle lock on Swagger. Swagger counters it to his own ankle lock. Rusev then gets out of it, hits an amazing super kick. Accolade is locked in. Swagger gets to the ropes. Accolade again. Swagger was breaking it, and then this towel comes in from out of nowhere. Ends up being Bo Dallas as Swagger gets up, has Rusev on his shoulders. Bo sweeps the leg. Swagger goes down again. Accolade locked in once again, and Swagger has to tap. Another good match from these two. Really good story. I mean, it's just, this story always sells Russia versus America, or just any foreign country versus America, because the American pride is just real. But I don't know, it kind of didn't work because they were in Canada, but I don't think anyone really figured that out. But I also think it adds to the story of how they sell each other's injuries so well. Rusev with the ankle and Swagger with the ribs. And then I like of how Bo worked his way into this match and kind of to continue the feud with Swagger, which I think has been solid so far. And I think it makes a good undercard match for either Night of Champions. They'll probably go with the pre-show route, which I think is the right solution, because Night of Champions, it really doesn't fit on the card, it seems like. So then we had Kane announce that Miz is in a match backstage. Then we had Stardust versus Jimmy Uso. I'm already liking this feud between the two teams, and I think they're going to have a pretty awesome match at Night of Champions, if they do go that route, which they probably will. Goldust apologizes before the match, back and forth for a little bit, and then Jimmy eventually rolls him up for the win. Goldust and Stardust start beating down the Usos, and I really like this heel turn and in the feud. Like I said, the match mainly built story, really nothing to it. So let's move on to the next segment. We had Sheamus versus Miz, and Sheamus versus Cesaro is actually official for Night of Champions for the US title, so that's pretty good. Really excited for that match. Kind of disappointing they didn't really build up to it, but I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. Miz cuts a promo before the match. Sandow's wrestling as Miz again. Miz now on commentary with his typical movie actor stuff and stuff like that. Sandow very aggressive at the start. Sheamus comes back. 10 beats the Bowderin. Sheamus hits the white noise for the win. Miz attacks Sheamus. Match really wasn't nothing. Miz attacks Sheamus, like I said, and then he gets thrown back in by Dolph, and then he runs away. Good news is that they're progressing Miz versus Dolph, and Sheamus looks strong. Really nothing else to this segment, so let's move on. Then we had the Cena and Brock video package again, still very awesome. I can't wait for their Night of Champions rematch to see what happens there. Then we had the main event, 6-man tag. I was kind of disappointed, like I said, that this was basically an exact copy of what happened on Raw, but it didn't really bother me that much, just because I think it was going to be a good match anyways, and like I said, it's SmackDown. It's typical for them to do this kind of stuff. So chaos ensues right at the start, and then Big Show starts off with Eric Rowan to officially start the match. Big Show, holy crap, just hits a sunset flip for 2. I'm not gonna lie, that was very impressive. It was just such a cool moment from Big Show there. Gotta love Big Show with that very athletic maneuver there. And then Show then hits a hip toss to Harper, and then hits a huge chop for 2. Show eventually hits this drop kick to Harper. Show's just on fire, bringing out lucha moves. He's gonna do a Hurricane Rana off the top. Super Hurricane Rana. I don't know, show's gonna do a 450 splash, Phoenix splash, a shooting star press. Show's gonna pull out all the stops here in this match. And then Mark Henry eventually comes in. He does the junkyard dog headbutt. That was cool to see. It's an avalanche into the corner. Harper eventually hits a drop kick, and then the Wyatt start to dominate Henry for a little bit. Henry eventually hits a suplex after a commercial break to come back in. Tags in Big Show. Big Show comes in, house on fire. Rowan hits a nice clothesline to take him down. Harper hits another drop kick on Big Show. Rowan hits a big splash on Big Show. Rowan hits a back elbow on Big Show. They just completely decimate him inside that ring. And then Big Show picks up Harper when Harper has a side headlock locked on and hits this massive side slam. Like I said, Big Show's on fire. Big Show then hits a huge clothesline. Reigns comes in, house on fire now. Superman punch for two after his whole clotheslines and apron dropkick and stuff like that. Big Show comes in, chokeslam. Wyatt hits another back elbow. World's Strongest Slam from Henry. Harper takes him out with the big boot. Super kick from Harper to Reigns for two. Harper then goes for the discus clothesline. Reigns hits the spear. Really, really good match. And a really, really good six-man tag. Really enjoyed it here. Big Show is on absolute fire. Match of the night. I'm going to give it to the main event because all six men really gave it their all here tonight, and they put on a fantastic match. I personally really enjoyed it. It had all of the components to it. The false tag of how Henry got the first hot tag and then Big Show got in the second one. You had Reigns go on just an absolute roll. You had Big Show pull off some awesome maneuvers. Wyatt sort of looked strong after they dominated Show and Henry for a little bit. And just overall a really good match, so I have to give that one match of the night. An overall show, this is where I'm sort of going into a little bit of a rant. I thought this was a pretty good SmackDown, I'm not gonna lie. It had some good matches, and it had some stuff that didn't really work out. It wasn't solid, and it was a little bit below average. But I'm just very tired of people complaining about just WWE in general. If you don't like it that much, if you say every show is boring, if you hate everything about it and all you do is complain, why do you still watch it? If I'm fine if you express an opinion if you don't like one thing, but if you're just constantly bashing on the product, why do you watch it if you hate it so much? And I think one reason of why WWE, not just WWE in general, this kind of really, it spans to all wrestling in general, that people really just look at the negatives and don't really look at the positives unless it's a 5-star match. It's true, that's what they do. They don't look at the positive. They look at this, for example, let's look into Rusev and Swagger here. I saw a bunch of people complaining about it, saying that we saw it a bunch of times before. Instead of looking at the negative side, look at the positive side. They put on good matches before. This is Rusev's best opponent, and we get a free submission match with a good feud on SmackDown. That's the positives there. And then you look at RVD versus Seth Rollins. We saw this a bunch of times too. RVD is getting old. RVD, this is his last match. He probably isn't going to go with anything. And then it was a good match, We got to see it twice. The live crowd got to see it twice in one night. That's awesome. And then they complained about Roman Reigns of when they were all his biggest fan come to the Royal Rumble 2014. They were all cheering for him, and they wanted him to win the Rumble, and now he's up at the top and they can't stand him. It's just really annoying. But like I said, I thought this was a pretty good SmackDown. I will always be an avid supporter for WWE because it really started my love for professional wrestling. So that's going to be all here. Please check out all of my other reviews, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.